Hi guys, today we have Francis with us for the Juicy Life Society. And Francis, tell me, what is juicy for you in real life right now?
What's juicy?
Yeah.
Being near you.
What is juicy in your business?
Oh, in my business.
Oh yeah, we talked about business.
Well, you're asking me what's juicy for me right now. Like, I'm thinking, well, like, would be even if you would remove this? No, I'm just kidding. I'm French Canadian. Yeah. What's juicy in my business? We're expanding our influence, so that's good.
Where?
Just because there's more partners in the business actually. So what I do is that we're working on a documentary on resilience, and I'm not talking about Brazil, because I know that sometimes people are like, oh yeah, that's good, what the dance stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm talking about resilience.
What is resilience for you?
Capacity to bounce back. Depend if you have a setback in adversity or anything that happens in your life that's really bad, and you'll have all the skills to bounce back no matter what. Actually, you're not. And I'm like, please. See, if that would be in bed, I would like that. No, just kidding. See,
So
that's
that was
resilience. No, but seriously, it's just when you have an event, you can either decide that this is something bad or something good, or you can say, you know what, I mean, in that situation that helps me to grow, and there's a lesson, and I think when you realize that, you can just go with the flow. So that's why I'm like,
Go with the flow.
If that would be in bed, I would love that.
Yeah. So that was already
that
very
juicy
yummy.
enough?
Oh yeah. That's. I mean, that's interesting. There's like juicy is actually like very often for people like something what has to do with bad. But what about joyful? What is joyful right now in your business?
Joyful in my business. Well, I think it's just the fact that I'm going to use a technical term, but enrolling. There's people that are seeing the vision that I see, and it's really exciting to know that I'm not alone anymore. And actually, it took a lot of resilience.
I'm not alone anymore.
Yeah. People. I mean, I'm sure they realize. You can realize, like, you have an idea, and the idea starts, and it's just in your head, and eventually, people are saying, "That's crazy. Are you sure you want to do this?" And it takes a lot of courage and to continue. And then you have so many obstacles, and once you have that first, and have you seen it? I'm sure you've seen that on YouTube. There's people dancing, and there's one guy dancing alone.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like that second person that comes in, which now already you feel better. And then the third comes in, and that's where it starts. So that's juicy for me and exciting now, because I know that there's 3 and 4 people now, and I feel like now this is just starting. It's just starting. Now we know that the documentary is going to get going, and we're going to have also a technology component to it, so people will have a daily dose of resilience through technology, and that's a huge project. And like we have retreats. We did a retreat in Italy last year, and we're going to do more. So.
Oh, nice. So what is actually for you like the most essential emotion that drives you to step up and be resilient? I know.
And she said, Francis, you have don't be like this. You look like you have to be close, like you're just an intimate conversation.
It's a secret.
There's a secret.
Tell you a secret.
Okay, so the emotion that to be resilient.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, I'll tell this. Yeah, okay, so it's passion. I think it's just from your heart. I know
but
it sounds.
How can you get this passion when you you feel shit? You feel like you're on the bottom. You don't want to talk to anyone. You would like to hide under your blanket, and no one would see. Like, how would you get there?
It takes a lot of work. I think it takes personal work. I think I'm
personal
at the
work,
point.
like-
I'll
like-
just say,
Yeah.
right now for me, if I'm in like in a shitty situation, which happens.
Imagine like we're both in a shitty situation. Like our project has crushed. We like feeling totally.
Well,
like I gotta like punch you in the face and like.
Juicy, not so much anymore. I don't know.
Well, it depends how good you smash.
Oh, geez, good. Are we talking about this? Is that what you want? You know what? I
talk
think
about the bad stuff. You're like in really shitty situation and you feel terrible and you just failed completely and you feel like a terrible person and you're super embarrassed and ashamed and you feel like you're a fraud or you feel like you're an imposter or whoever. And then like you need to step up and you need to continue and like 100 people are waiting for you to wait and you feel like you're the most monster.
do you want to add more to this? Like, I mean, like you feel like a monster. You're like, okay, it's a bad situation. We got that. I mean, I'm gonna say, and it takes time. Like that's the thing. But right now, what I'm feeling is that first you have to acknowledge what's going on. Like sometimes we just don't know how we feel, and we suppress. You know, one of the things that I used to do was I shouldn't feel like this right now. You know, and that really didn't help, because the more you're saying I shouldn't feel like this, you feel even more. So you know, I shouldn't feel bad about it, or I shouldn't feel sad. I shouldn't be frustrated. Yeah, you should be, and it's almost like you say, I love the fact that I'm just scared, or I'm feeling shitty, which, you know, took me a while before I can acknowledge that. So I'd say, first of all, you acknowledge. Two, I'd say for me, what's happening is that I know that if I'm in a shitty situation, I'm gonna get out of it eventually. So I know that there's a breakthrough. So I'm almost excited. I know it takes time to go there. Yeah. I know that, okay, there's gonna be something that's gonna happen. So I can ask this question to you guys. Think about the shittiest situation you were in right now. Can you think about it? Like just the worst thing that happened. When was that? And now, what came out of it? Have you seen something positive that came out of it? Was that actually very useful? Like if you can go back to it and say, you know, with perspective, I really think that this was the best thing. So if you really know that this is the case, then you know that the next time it's going to happen, you're going to have a breakthrough too. And one thing that really helped me was, and Dr. Rao was here this week, right? He was talking about one concept, and that's actually what Einstein was saying. He said the best question you can ask yourself is the universe benevolent or friendly? And as soon as you know that no matter what happens, you're always, the universe have your back, or this is for a good reason, then it's almost like you just put the onus on that entity, that higher power, and you know you're going to be taken care of. That doesn't mean that shitty sometimes you're like, okay, I got it, can you just stop? This is freaking shitty right now, like, can I just have a break? And that's where, you know, you just go get the best emotion. So that might be not numbing. I'm not talking about alcohol or anything like that, but you can travel and slow down and just give yourself permission to be alone if you feel you want to be alone, or go surfing if you can, or go near nature, and really, I guess, gratitude. I'll share a personal story that's really personal. You know, I was at A-Fest, and you know, A-Fest is an amazing event where people are thinking, what, you're complaining right now? You have a breakdown? Like you're just in Portugal? What's happening? But the fact is, there was a woman at that time that I was kind of in love with, you know? And one day, one guy said, you know, of all the girls that are here, like which one would you want to go home with? And I'm thinking, this is not a right question. First of all, I didn't feel that it was really respectful. And then I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to tell him who that was. So he said, what's her name? And then I thought, I'm not going to describe her. I'm just going to say the name. And I said the name, and he's like, no way. This is exactly the same girl as me. Yeah. She's like, oh, you got to tell me. You got to tell me now if you're really serious, because I'm going to pursue her. So it was almost like man-to-man, like confrontation.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm like, I'm not enjoying this time at all. Like, because I felt it's almost like I have to fight to know where is he, where is she, and now I'm not enjoying my time at all. And it threw me off. Like, I was not in the... And I talked to someone, she's like, well, stop thinking. And it came, like, the day after, it was still dwelling. And I had a conversation with one person from the event, and he said, oh, you've got your monkey mind going right now. Which I'm sure, like, when you're in a shitty situation, your monkey mind's like, what about this, what about that, well, what's gonna happen to me, my friends, whatever. And I think what got out of it, I knew. And he said, so what do you think is appealing? What do you think is appealing for a girl in this situation, or what is appealing for you in your life? Like, what would be your best scenario? And he said, no, they just want you to have fun. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That's so good. Like, at the end of it, so what I did is that I just went to look at. I was in a coffee shop, and I thought, hey man, you're so freaking lucky. First of all, you're in this place. You're in Portugal, and so I guess it's just being grateful for what you have. And then I thought, if anything happens, I'm already lucky. So anything after on top of it is kind of gravy. It's just a bonus.
Yeah.
So when you realize that anything else after is a bonus, then you're living happy, and that was my trick. And you know, and for some people, again, I met someone there. His story is that he at one point of his life he traveled, and then one day he became paralyzed halfway.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like right now, like what you can do? Like he's limping. I did cliff jumping yesterday. He wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, there's so many things that he's not able to do, but he's not focusing on that. And he would say that this is actually one of the best things that happened in his life, because now he has a purpose. But for the people that are watching right now, if you're able to just walk, if you're able to go in nature, do so many things that I thought actually today, I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do this, and that. And that's like, imagine you can't walk the same way. You can't run. You can, if you have kids, you can't run after your kids. He's not gonna see it this way, because he's seeing, hey, I'm alive, I have a purpose. But there's so many things that we can be grateful for. So long
Francis,
answer.
how do you use your intuition actually in your work?
My intuition.
And you're like, which kind of situations you used your intuition and you had some success with that? Because I remember, like, we chatted one time about this one decision that you had to pursue about like one project or another project, and then you said like hell no and hell yes to another thing. So was it like some intuition been used there?
That was a different exercise that people might do. For intuition, I'll answer your question about what I think you're talking about. Intuition for me is I do meditation every day, so it's a learned habit that you I guess I'm sure some of you are, we have some intuition sometimes and we don't really follow it. So I guess it's trial and error. Like, oh, I thought about this, but I didn't do it. So sometimes you try, and then eventually you got to know where that intuition is coming from.
Yeah.
So the more you do it, or the more you try, then you're like, oh, that was a good hunch. So I'm gonna follow it next time, and you kind of recalibrate all the time. But the one that helped me to make a decision in a dilemma was my coach 3 years ago said, that was at a time where in my personal life, relationship was over. I was ready. Again,
a love story.
My God, am I learning something?
Talk about like success and businesses and stuff, and you.
I think MVU this week is putting me to a different level. I really think so, and I don't judge myself. That's another thing. Not judge yourself. Forgiving yourself is another one. So many things. So he gave me, and I wanted to just do something. It was a time that I'm like, okay, I'm moving on. I want to do it. And he said, okay, I want you to do an exercise, and you're not gonna like it. Do you want to do it? So
of course you're gonna do it. Yeah.
So I said, sure, shoot, like let's do it. I'm gonna do it. And the exercise was do nothing for 3 days.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And I said at first, I'm like, what do you mean do nothing? He's like, yeah, nothing. Is that clear enough? Like nothing. Define nothing. No journaling, no watching TV, no social media. I'm like, what's left?
Eating was okay.
Eating was fine.
Toilet
was fine.
Chores.
Being in bed was fine.
Wow, I do nothing so often.
That's actually pretty something. It's do whatever makes you feel good. So, and it was, I have different stories about that, which was really cool. And then, but before I left, he said, and I have another question for you, or I have an addition to the exercise. Go 5 years from now in your agenda and write this thing down. So I'm like, what do you want me to write? He's like, just write, this is the last day of my life. So then he said, go think about who do you want to become? You have 5 years. Yummy. You have 5 years. Why are you here, Francis? Why are you here? Yeah. What's your legacy? And who do you want to be with? So at that time I had a dilemma, and just with that question, I knew the answer. And he's like, I don't want the answer right now. Just go have fun doing nothing for 3 days. And I came up with the idea. That's why Resilience Element was born. I launched a company three months after, and now it's been 3 years almost. But it took some time. It takes time.
What was this company about?
the company Resilience Global Media is really for the documentary on resilience and everything. I had a vision. I wanted to interview the people about their setbacks and everything. So
after all your interviews, what is this like one emotion that brings people up?
She's like, you didn't answer the question properly. Yeah. What's the emotion?
Yeah.
I don't think there's one answer.
What is the technology?
The technology piece of it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so many ways of cultivating.
Step 1, step 2, step 3. I am on the floor. What do I need to do in order to get back?
So that would be for me is depending on what's your mission, right? So if you have a goal and your goal is to be resilient to make sure that you will achieve your goal, there's a formula that I think for that. But when you feel down, I think all you have to do simply is raise your vibration, which means just try to find a way to be happy. So if you like music, play music. If you like to see your friends, go see your friends. So social connection is very important. That's a big lever of happiness. Then being grateful is another one. So you can do an act of kindness. Like why don't you give a free coffee to someone just like randomly? Act of kindness, gratitude, doing something you love. So it's all about, I think, trying to bring your vibe up, because now you're down. You're down. So you might just talk to your coach if you have a coach. Talk to someone you love and doing something you love. That's all you have to do, I think.
And that's it?
Yeah. It's that's to raise your vibration. Once you have that, then you go back to I have a formula for the people to do so that they would always make sure that their goal are achieved.
What kind of formula?
Well, I mean, so first of all would be, are you clear about your goals? So I call, like, there's 5. So resilience element, if you check on RE, that means rhenium in the periodic table. And the atomic number of it is 75. So that's why I say RE 75. So 7 categories of your life and 5 components. So that's one way to remember.
What are the 7?
So the categories, there's 7, but let's say the 5 components of the formula. You need clarity. So you need to know what's the goal, like really. And then the second thing is conviction. So your big reasons why you want to do it. So if you don't have enough reasons, it's not going to happen.
The big why.
And then third is certainty. So the best example I would give is, imagine when we were kids and we're trying to, we were not walking, but we're seeing everyone walking. So do you think that in your mind, you're thinking, I tried a million times, but I guess I'm going to crawl. I'm done. Like for kids, it was 100% certainty that they will eventually walk. So it was just a matter of time. And so actually I interviewed someone and he said resilience is standing the test of time. So for kids, they stand the test of time. So in some ways they know that they're going to be taken care of, that their goal is going to be accomplished. It's not necessarily always the goal, but their mission in a way will be accomplished, or there's going to be a lesson and they're going to be taken care of. So that's third. And the fourth one is commitment. So are you doing daily actions towards your goal? And the fourth one is courage, which is now if you've done everything, you're clear, you have conviction, you know that there's some certainty about it, and then you're doing something every day, but you hit the wall and it sucks. And that's where you raise your vibe. That's where I call it a courage. So now a lot of people
courage is raising your vibration.
Yeah, it's the last part. So if you hit the wall, you can stop. Or you're like, you know what? I'm still going to do it. But now it's about giving yourself a little bit of self-love and raising the vibe. And then you continue. Because now if you feel happier, I don't know you, but I don't think you can feel happy and feel shitty at the same time.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So...
I mean, it depends. Like you can feel shitty, but like you can have a shitty situation but feel happy on top of it, and vice versa. You can be happy
at the same time.
Sure, of course. Never experienced that? You're totally mess, but like inside you know that everything gonna be good, and you're actually in a good space, or the vice versa. You're actually in a good space, but something sits there, and this actually poisons out everything. Like
to me, it's either or for me.
It's either or.
It's like all in one or the other.
Okay.
Which I think actually brings a good point is that I think that one of the reasons why we linger is because we're not all in one or the other. So what I mean by
clarity.
that,
that's the clarity.
What I mean by that is that sometimes you're at work and then you feel bad that you're not on vacation somewhere, like your friends are having fun, you're working, now you're resentful for the fact that, So you're not all in at work. And then you go on vacation and you feel guilty that you're on vacation because you should work. So you're never all in work or all in vacation, and you're in the middle, and that's where the hell is. So that's why the hell is in the middle.
Yeah. What's your most successful moment that you had in your life ever? That you're really proud of yourself?
I think it was. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, at university, there was a project called a mission, commercial, mission commerciale, commercial mission or something. So I was going in Argentina, or the project was with 12 students, and we had to convince companies to give us the money to work on behalf of them and go 3 weeks in Argentina. And you're 21 years old. So first of all, it was, why Argentina at the time? Like, it was 20 years ago.
¿Hablas español bien?
Sí, un poquito. Se puede hablar español porque fui en Argentina por 3 semanas para hacer una misión comercial. That's all I can say. And actually, you know, it's funny because I remember, now you made me remember, I had to do an interview to see if I was good in Spanish, and so I had to do it quick. So I hired someone, and I just wanted to repeat the same thing, and I got so good to repeat. So they're like, "Do you speak Spanish?" Sí, hablo español. So I was really, really good at that. Like, oh, he speaks Spanish. I was not speaking Spanish. So yeah, and so it was difficult. Exactly. It was difficult because, you know, I was young, and they had to pay for it, and that was to convince them to go to Argentina. So, and I didn't have any contacts. My parents or my friends or whatever were not able to say, I'm going to sponsor you to go. And so everybody got a mission except me and another guy. And the mission, so we're a month and a half just before, and if we don't have any mandate, we're not going. And I really wanted to find it by myself. I wanted to work to get it by myself, so I worked really, really hard. And at one point, the director of the mission said, oh, we have a contract, and one of you is going to take it. But this guy and myself wanted the same objective. We just wanted to find it. So instead of being happy about having the mission, we're like, we're going to flip the coin, and whoever, like, based on what we said, that's going to be you or me that takes the mandate. Aww. So we flipped the coin. He got it. So now I'm the last one, and I really, really have to find it. And only maybe I think few weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, I finally managed to convince a company to send me to Argentina. And I was super proud because I was the only one that did it. And I think my experience in Argentina was very different because now you savor every second. You know that you made it, and it was good. It was actually, I'm proud of that.
So basically, like, this difficulty on the beginning made you actually this momentum that you've been pushing much harder, or that you've been appreciating it.
I guess, yeah. I guess and it was hard because, you know, I was making phone calls and, you know, about Argentina. My name is Francis and all of that. And I remember my mom even say, "Please God, like, can you just help him?" Like, because there was like the spring break, and during the spring break I was working. I was just trying to get But the reason why I'm so proud, which is probably going back to, you know, a shitty situation, it was very shitty at that time, and it was also a better victory because now, like, all those efforts meant so much for me.
And which victory would you like to produce in the next 10 years? What would be like your biggest thing that you would love to... So yummy.
Helping the people to taste freedom, billion people by 2025. So basically helping them to thrive versus survive with our mission. And now that the people know that they're not going to be identified by, I think we're just going to do this, there's low power.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be identified by the setbacks or adversity, and we're going to give them the freedom. So the big juicy thing is 1 billion people by 2025.
So how and where would this moment going to look like? And where would that be?
You know, that's a good question because I used to think that I would be happy when, and I'm not saying I'm not making that mistake sometimes. I think it's going to be natural. in a sense
is
that
there like no like particular moment that you kind of
because
like,
the journey, what I'm saying is that I'm gonna see that progressing. My goal now is I want to have fun in a journey, and I made so many mistakes when I thought I would be happy.
What is your biggest mistake? The biggest mistake.
Biggest is,
Yeah.
I think, in a nutshell, was always to think that I would be happy when something would happen.
Ah, okay. So
That's what Dr. Sri Kumar Rao said this week. Is like the what if model is gonna make you miserable.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I thought, oh, when my girlfriend is gonna finish school, we're gonna be able to buy something together, or when I'm gonna get that promotion, when I'm gonna get that amount of money in my bank account, when I'm gonna get that car.
Yeah.
And so then you realize you're just miserable the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest mistake, I think, is
living
to think.
in the future and not like not being stuck in the past.
That's it.
Wow. So what is your message to the whole world? What would you like to see more? What would you like to see less?
I'm gonna try to be intuitive on that. To see more.
Yeah. What would you like to see more in this world?
More people happy, not depressed, not stressed, engage at work. Because when you live that way, when you feel free, I mean, there's so many possibilities. Everything's possible. I really think so. And it can only be possible to achieve big things with people that are aligned with that thought, and just know that the rest is just limitations that we put in our head. That's yeah. And what was the other one you said? So you said,
what would you like to see more?
Less,
would you like
less.
to see less?
Yeah, and the less is less worry.
Less worries.
Yeah, and more love, just more love. Yeah. I think to yourself first, and I can be blamed for that big time. When you start to have self-love for yourself, you can give love to others. And my coach even said one time, he's like, the people can only love you at the level you love yourself.
Oh, 100%.
So, and if you don't love yourself, then don't expect people to love you, because that starts with you. So more love and less fear.
Less fear. What is your enjoyment sound? Something.
Being with you in Pula, Croatia.
No, but like, how does it sound?
How does that sound?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the seminar she did yesterday.
No,
the orgasm sound. Like, you want me to do that now?
No. Oh, okay. You see? You're thinking about the yesterday's workshop that you missed about the sexual freedom, where I literally ask everyone to show their orgasmic sound. That is different. What I'm asking you now is to show your enjoyment sound.
My enjoyment sound.
Enjoyment sound.
I guess it's just being grateful.
So how does the grateful sound like?
Sounds like? I think that's just what I did. No?
Yeah.
Is that no? You didn't hear it? You want me to do it again?
Do it again.
Just feeling free. Yeah, peaceful.
So, thank you so much. That was Francis. See you soon.
See you soon, guys.